All right, David. I think we're back.
All right.
Well, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And she agrees. Yeah, Hill. yeah, Hill.
Who is that woman anyway?
It's Kate Bush.
Kate Bush from England.
From England.
Back, gosh, I guess she goes back to the 70s.
Yep.
80s.
Angelland.
Yeah, this was a big hit for her.
Yeah. Cloud bursting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know about her until I lived in Holland.
Yeah.
And this young lady that used to work with us in YWAM was a big Kate Bush fan. Actually, in fact, it's funny because this young lady was a Sheila Walsh fan.
Oh, I love Sheila.
And so she said, Sheila Walsh, if you like Sheila Walsh. I didn't like Sheila Walsh at first. Mm-hmm. And then the Drifting album came out, and I fell in love with that. It was a great album. And so she said she reminded her of Kate Bush. Mm-hmm. And so I started listening to Kate Bush, and then, the rest is history. I've been a Kate Bush fan ever since. Kate Bush is a real artsy, fartsy fairy, like she was.
Oh, yeah.
She was a dancer.
Yes.
Some really interesting stuff. And,
she was cutting edge of the music video before MTV was around.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's very talented. If you've never had a chance, go to YouTube, look up Kate Bush.
Yeah.
And she does this one, by the way, is one that she does with Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland, cloud bursting.
Yeah.
Cloud bursting. And she and Donald Sutherland do this whole, it's a crazy video about him shooting stuff into the atmosphere, and then it starts raining, but then they arrest him. They take him away, but she shoots this machine and it starts raining, and I don't know what it means, but other than they make it rain.
Now, this song was featured in the opening of the 2012 London Olympics.
Really?
Yes. I think it's called Climbing Up That Hill, or
Running Up That Hill.
Running Up That Hill.
Running Up That Hill.
Oh, yeah. They played.
I'm sorry, this is Running Up the Hill. Cloud bursting is another one. Yeah, that's right. This is Running Up the Hill, right? Now, this is there's an instrumental version. This actually has two versions. This is the instrumental version, which I like, and then there's the one where she actually sings as well.
Yeah.
It was lyrics. There's more lyrics to it, but I like the instrumental version. Well, hey, what do you think about Ryan Walters?
I got a lot of new information, particularly the reforms in higher ed, that I've been beating the drum and trying to reach out to our private university presidents, because, let's face it, this is predatory. Our policy at the state is actually, whether they're trying or not, they're killing private colleges.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff like that. It's, the more I look at it, and we're going to get into it here in just a second, some of the stuff I'm seeing, but before we get into that, what I'm finding, it's really getting tough this election season. Yeah. Because, I've been a Brian Cox fan.
John Cox.
Brian Cox. He's an actor.
Yeah.
Brian Cox. He's been in probably more movies than John Wayne. Yeah. Brian Cox is in, so many movies. You know who I'm talking about.
I think I do.
Yeah. Anyway, John Cox.
Yeah.
John Cox.
Yeah.
Great guy. Love the guy. Great guy.
It's a good man.
I supported him as a Democrat. He's a Republican now, and he's a great guy. But here comes Ryan Walters, and now I'm saying, oh my goodness, because he's great.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a good problem to have. So, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Now I will have to say, he's swinging me a little bit.
Sure.
Because let's put it this way, there's more energy.
Yes, sir.
Maybe it's youth, more energy. Mm-hmm. He's wanting to take on more of the peers. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see if he wins, if he can pull it off.
Yeah.
If he can, wonderful, because I think many of the things he wants to see happen are things that need to happen.
Yeah. And I will say, he didn't get into this today. He could have. But last year's legislative session was, I would say, hands down, the most effective at common education reform. That's when we changed the rules on student transfer. We changed a number of things. And I went to see him almost a year ago. It was last summer at AFP, Americans for Prosperity, I think it is. Anyway, and they said he was the governor's point man on legislative policy. He was able to do what OCPA has been trying for years and never got done.
Wow.
So at least with the legislature, he's been effective.
Yeah.
He didn't say that today. We didn't get into that.
Well,
but
you didn't need to because you just said it.
I've heard it from other people, because listen, politicians will tell you a lot of stuff. It's when other people say, yeah, he's right, that then you're actually getting a straight scoop.
Yeah. No, like I said, we've never met.
Mm-hmm.
We've never met. I don't know him from Adam or Eve, but I'm impressed.
Yeah,
he's sounds like a good guy, and some of the things he's already done.
Yeah,
among which you've just mentioned. I have to say, wow.
Yeah.
So, anyway, may the best man win.
Yeah,
may the best man win,
and that's not to take away from our good friend John Cox.
No, not at all. That's why I'm saying may the best man win.
Yeah.
And it's up to you. And he had to leave us because he's going to a debate or a forum. Yeah, let's just call it a forum because good men don't debate. They just discuss. Okay. So anyway, speaking of debates and things, J.D. Vance. Let's go to that one first. J.D. Vance, we've talked about it. I think we just talked about him last week, in fact, either last week or week before.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance has become popular through a book he wrote and a film called Hillbilly Elegy. If you haven't read the book or seen the film, you need to. It's on Netflix, if you still have Netflix. By the way, did you hear about Netflix taking a dive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart bleeds for him.
I've got to buy some now. No, seriously, I'm going to buy about 1,000 million shares if I can. No, I've got to go buy some Netflix. I'm just sad. Back when they first split it into, you remember you used to get the DVDs?
Oh, I remember you got Netflix
get the DVD,
was
and then
mail
they went
order.
online, and then you had both. Well, their stock dived to $13 a share.
Wow.
And I didn't buy any.
Yeah.
And then, it went all the way up to, I think, $1,200 a share, and then they split. And I didn't get any either time. Well, anyway, yeah, I should have gotten some at $12 a share. Well, I've had so many things I missed out on. I could just kick myself.
There are a lot of businesses that benefited from the COVID emergency, and Netflix is one of them. When they shut down the movie theaters, you wanted movies, you had to stream them. Yeah. And so it's natural that right now all of those streaming services.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but I do have to say I have probably all of them.
Yeah.
I don't pay for all of them, but I do have it's a confession. I hope nobody else is watching. Like, I won't name any of them, but some of them I get free because we have what we call the family plan.
Yes.
And so I have a few. One of my kids has a few. The other kid has a few, and then so it's called Sherry. Isn't that how we're supposed to do?
My daughter was over one day, and I so what movies you been watching or binging on, And she, you got to see this one. I handed her my remote. I said, show it to us. And she left her account on our TV.
Oh, shame on her. Right. Yeah, her loss is your gain. Well, she probably, it was an accident, I'm sure, right?
In fact, my son has his own Hulu account, and you can set up profiles. You got one for the kids shows, right?
Got
and then so it's his name, his wife's name, kid's name, and the fourth one is freeloaders.
Well, somehow my daughter had she had somebody, she had no clue, and we had to tell her, there's some name on here, who is this? And she didn't know who it was. So she had to redo the whole account, and it only has 3 of us on there now.
Yeah.
But no, it's only 3 of us on one account and at a time. But going back to, anyway, if you get a chance, if you have Netflix, watch Hillbilly Elegy because it's him as a little boy, and his mother's bipolar. Mm-hmm. And his grandmother, played by Glenn Close, is the matriarch of the family. Mm-hmm. And I am telling you, you have got to see Glenn Close play his grandmother. I need to. You need to. I'm serious. I didn't tell you it's Glenn Close, you would not know it is the most amazing. Mm-hmm. I have to ask myself, is this her with makeup, or is this what she looks like really without the makeup? Who plays the bipolar mom? I cannot remember. She's an Academy, Amy Adams. Oh, yes. Another Academy Award winner. Mm-hmm. And she just plays that well, too. I mean, you talk about two women being dressed down. I mean, oh yeah, and Glenn Close could have been a director in that. Her sister's bipolar. Yeah, I know her through my work with NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. Okay, she's been very active. Right, as well. I knew she was because that commercial relative of bipolar or bipolar sister, something like that. But to see her play his grandmother, J.D. Vance's grandmother, and him as a little boy, and they grew up in I think in Kentucky or somewhere. It's just messed up family. But through all of this, you talk about growing up in a messed up childhood, and he ends up going to Harvard or Yale. He gets a scholarship, and he escapes all of that, and ends up getting a law degree at an Ivy League school like this. And now he recently, has gotten the Trump endorsement to run for the Senate. But he now has come under, you would think he's Trump's son because they're after him. He did a town hall the other day. Yeah, I want to address something on how that happened. There was supposed to be an actual candidate debate because there's 3 candidates, all have been hovering at the top, right? And actually, there were more. There were 4. Yeah, I guess there were 3 of them here over the last month or two have in the polling been there. JD, you've had this businessman, and then you've had Josh Mandel, and Josh Mandel and this other businessman who, remember, at another forum, they got in each other's face. Right. That's what the 4 of the other 2. Yeah, okay. JD and the other 4, they were sitting there looking at each other like, ooh, what's going on? So, now the polling since this, I think was it Thursday night, that event with Rob Schmidt happened. That was supposed to be a debate. The other candidates didn't show up, and ends up, Newsmax did the right thing. Is if just one of you shows up, you get a free TV program. And I think J.D. Vance is going to run away with that race. Well, yeah, it was J.D. and the candidate who's running for governor. Right. So I know that's a separate issue. Right. But but it ended up being a town hall is actually what it ended up being. It ended up being a town hall between J.D. and the front runner now for Republican nomination as governor. Yeah. So just those 2 have run. But my point is this, JD now, he's public enemy number 1. So, I mean, CNN, MSNBC, it's get JD Vance. Why? Because Donald Trump has named him as his guy. Who's the other one? Who's public enemy number 1 in Pennsylvania? Oh, Dr. Oz. Yeah. Dr. Oz. Public enemy number 1 in Pennsylvania. They're after Dr. Oz. He was the darling of everybody just 2 months ago. Now he is public enemy number. Oprah won't return his calls. Oprah won't talk to him, although they were good buddies. Then, in addition to Dr. Oz, in Tennessee, now we're getting there now. Now check this out. You've got Morgan Ortagus, Robbie Starbuck, and a man named Baxter Lee. All 3 of them were running for the Republican House. Mm-hmm. Well, Congress. Congressional. Yeah. The House. And in Tennessee, different districts, the Tennessee GOP, not the Democrats, the GOP has kicked them off the ballot on technical issues. For technical issues, not the Democrats, the GOP has kicked them off. And it was just a small, high-level committee Right.
They didn't allow the rank and file to actually have a primary.
Right.
They don't think that the Republicans in Tennessee are smart enough to make that decision for themselves.
Right. Right.
That's going to be a problem for the Tennessee Republican Party big time.
Right. Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And then you've got one more in Georgia. Margorie Taylor Green is being removed or attempted to be removed from the ballot by none other than the governor and the GOP in Georgia on constitutional grounds.
Well, but they're going to court.
Yeah.
Using the law.
Hey, let me finish, Dave.
Yeah.
Let me finish, then you please, you can step in, okay?
Yeah.
They're trying to pull a constitutional grounds on some statute in a clause that comes from just post-Civil War times, and it doesn't actually even really fit. So, yes, Margorie Taylor Green is taking them to court, as are Robbie Starbuck and Morgan Ortega. I mean, they're fighting it in Tennessee and in Georgia. But my point is, and I will let you address whatever, but the point is this: there are some powerful and diabolical forces at work here, and they're not necessarily Democrats. It is showing what's going on in the Republican Party. And I'm going to get to the main one here as soon as we're done with this, Dave.
Yeah, and basically it was over one statement, she said, where she wanted the people that showed up for Trump's rally over at the Washington Monument on January 6th, don't let the Congress just do this. And then she puts up her fingers peacefully. And really, I mean, disturbing the peace is usually violated through what? Making too much noise.
Right.
And you say, no, that's at the people's house. She wanted to go make some noise.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're trying to accuse her of insurrection, basically.
Right.
That she was, as like Trump, inciting a riot and causing the people to go in and violate the law. And I mean, do you think she really wanted people to go in and disrupt Congress in the House and all that? No. I mean, anybody with sense knows that was not the intent.
Yeah. Now, just as an example, my friend David Oldham went to the New Jersey legislature. They wouldn't let him in the building. Only a few people got in. It was the last day, and they wanted to pass this big mandate to mandate all kinds of vaccines. And they had about 5,000 people surround that building and make so much noise. They could not even hardly hear each other in the Senate chambers. It was that noisy.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, and in Florida, just the other day, the Democrats went in and started making noise, and they went in and held a protest in the chamber.
Right.
They went in the chamber, did the same basic thing, singing "We Shall Overcome" and all this kind of stuff. And no, that wasn't an insurrection. There were no weapons, nothing like that. The people walked in peacefully and everything. But, oh, no, this is, because she's a member of Congress all of a sudden. But anyway, we see what's going on here. Now, brings me to a bigger point. Kevin McCarthy he's the latest et tu brute.
Right. He's the Republican leader in the House. And he is the latest et tu brute. For those of you who know, Julius Caesar was stabbed by Brutus. And I always say that it was Mike Pence was Brutus, but he's got another one here because McCarthy is supposed to be a good buddy of Donald Trump. Yeah. But anyway, it turns out the New York Times has released a tape recording of him with about 100 Republicans. But the main one who's egging him on is none other than Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney asking these questions. And you can tell she's kind of leading him, trying to get him. That's the phone call we're hearing.
That's the phone call with Liz Cheney. And Liz Cheney is asking him, what did Trump say, or did he, was he responsible for January 6th. And he says he thinks he was responsible for January 6th. And so if you really listen to it, there's some wiggle room there. And it's not as clear and cut if you really listen to the whole thing. And he says Trump will deny it. He'll say, no, but in my opinion, he is responsible. That's what McCarthy's saying, that he thinks that Trump is responsible. Mm-hmm. He says, if you ask Trump, he's going to say he's not responsible. Mm-hmm. So again, it's a personal opinion.
Yeah.
That he is.
At 2:00, January 6th, roughly 2:00, Donald Trump took to social media using his own cell phone, right? And did an address pleading anybody who's part of what's going on over at the Capitol, January 6th. He says, go home. Right. Stop. And it was immediate. He did that on Facebook. He did it on Twitter. Within minutes, it was taken down and his account was canceled. Why? Because it contradicts the narrative that they want to say that Trump is inciting it.
Right. Yeah, and it's very clear where he says in a few minutes we're going to march over to the Capitol and protest peacefully. He clearly says
patriotically and peacefully.
Peacefully. Mm-hmm. The words peacefully. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying everything they can. Never in the history, and this is, I mean, take it to the bank. Never in the history of these United States of America has anyone been under as much attack mm-hmm. as Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
As this president. And the reason is there is an insurrection taking place in this nation, mm-hmm. but it's not by Donald Trump or the Republicans. It is by the social democrats, even in the guise of Republican, who are trying to undermine the fabric of this nation.
Yeah.
We have people, Republicans and Democrats, who want to fundamentally, as Obama said so many times, fundamentally change the United States of America.
Yeah.
It's clear. He said it. We want to fundamentally change the United States of America. And you have traitors within the government of the United States. You have them in the Senate. You have them in the Congress, in the House of Representatives. You have them in the military. You have them in all of the government administrative offices. You name them all the way down. You have them in state houses, as we see in Georgia, Arizona. We have them in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'd like to address something on that.
We will. And so I just want to say, do not be fooled. One last thing before we get to you and let you address this. We're seeing these ads ramp up again. The Constitutional Convention of States. Again, I'm going to tell you, do not fall for it. Do not fall for the Convention of States. It is a ruse. It will destroy anything that you hold dear, and you will lose your First Amendment rights. You will lose your Second Amendment rights. You will lose your Fifth Amendment rights and the 10th Amendment. Anything that we have at this point that can protect us, you will lose if you agree to this. I know David may disagree. I don't care. You hear me now. Believe me later. This is the most dangerous thing, to say that we do not trust the Constitution as it was formed. There's nothing wrong with the Constitution as it was written. The problem is it's not being observed as it is. What we need to do is get back and observe the Constitution as it was written and the amendments as they were written, not as they're being overlooked, okay? We have a right to freedom of speech. We have a right to bear arms. We have a right to freedom of assembly. We have a right to freedom of worship. The states have a right to override any laws that are not enumerated elsewhere. So all of those things are already there. It's just that the states are not exercising them and the people are not exercising them. We're allowing some bureaucrats in Washington to dictate how we execute these things. So I'm telling you, if you see these ads on the Convention of States, I don't care if it's Mark Levine, I don't care if it's Newt Gingrich, I don't know where he stands on, but I don't care who it is, okay? Don't buy it. Write your people, tell them you do not support the Convention of States, that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as it is written currently. Thank you. All right, David.
Yes. To that issue, I want to commend, especially my Tulsa County Republican Party has gotten a lot more involved in deep dives on the, quote, nonpartisan races, particularly the last few months. They got involved in identifying the school board candidates. Even though they're nonpartisan elections, those people still have a history, they have political philosophies, and there is nothing stopping a political party from doing a deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Now, when Randy Crable sat in this chair last week, I started to talk to him. I said, it seems like if you believe the narrative that George Soros is going after the DA's offices to try to undermine and move his leftist agenda, I don't see signs of it this election cycle, because 22 of the 27 DAs didn't even have a challenge this year. And the only ones I see challenges is where we have had a Democrat in that office, David Prater over in Oklahoma County, would be an example. But this week I did a deep dive on the district judge and associate district judge races. And I'm finding some radical leftists running in those nonpartisan races. One, I know personally, I've sat in her law office and worked on some things with her. I knew she was motivated by other things. We were trying to get a petition for a citizen's petition for grand jury over there because David Prater wasn't doing his job. Well, she was motivated enough that she hosted the meeting. We talked. Her name is Rachel Bussett Simcoe. She's running for a judge spot for Canadian County, which is the county next to Oklahoma County. She's told me enough of her politics. I know that it's not mainstream Oklahoma values. If you'll remember in our hearings for the U.S. Supreme Court, the designated Jackson, the Republicans were able to expose her leniency on certain crimes in sentencing. So the DAs aren't our only concern here. It's the judges themselves.
Right.
So I wanted to encourage the Republican Party from the county, even individuals, find out who these nonpartisan, races, who the candidates are. And so I wanted to let you know, because that goes on your whole issue of, what's trying to happen.
And you're still in the midst of this. You're going to let us know.
I just told you one of them.
One of them.
I know another one.
What is her? I mean, what did you find out?
Right. I know enough of her philosophy and stuff.
And what
I don't
is
want
that?
as a judge. She was doing well. I'd have to get into it and get my notes together.
That's what I mean. Okay, so you're going to let us know down the line.
Another one, for instance, over on the other side, Lincoln County, Chad Moody. Now, in a lot of ways, I like Chad, but in some ways, he has a history. He ran for governor 4 years ago, I believe it was, or maybe it was he's been a defense attorney specializing in marijuana possession, defending those people. He had a philosophy that, a lot of people is like, hey, you shouldn't give them 5 years in prison just for simple possession. And we've changed some of that.
Right.
Now, so that's another example. You've got some pretty, ideological people looking for seats on the bench.
Right, but those don't yet rise to, in my opinion, to the level of a radical Ketanji Jackson.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Chad, I'm not as concerned about. When I saw Rachel's name on there, Canadian County, you need to do a deeper dive into.
Right. So once you find more stuff.
Yeah, and I'll work. I know some good attorneys over there. I'll work with them on it.
Let's finish up with this. A couple of weeks ago, we had Kevin Adams in, who is defending David Ware in his trial for the murder of a Tulsa police officer in the shooting of a second one. And the verdict came down yesterday evening, and it was guilty on all charges, first-degree murder. Mm-hmm. The sentencing will happen next week. So the jury was unconvinced of Attorney Adams's case on behalf of David Ware. So now we will see what happens in the sentencing. What do you think? What are your feelings on it?
I think they've got a very strong case for appeal, because the jury didn't spend 3 hours in deliberation, convicted him of premeditated murder. And I don't know, I look at both sides, their presentation in court, I don't see anything saying premeditated.
Yeah, the question I have, in fact, my wife even mentioned this, and my wife personally thought he should fry. Mm-hmm. but even she thought that the mayor, in fact, several people, me included, of course, but I mean, several people that I spoke to felt that the mayor coming out in the paper 2 weeks ago saying that the guy deserved to be basically killed or executed was very prejudicial. That was not, and that was before the jury was seated. I think that is very much grounds for appeal. Personally, I don't know. I mean, I'm not exactly sure on the law on that, but to me, when you have a mayor of a town and it's in the newspaper, it's on all of the news media, everything, that the mayor of the town makes that statement, that usually, I would think, is pretty prejudicial.
Yeah. And I'm going to use as analogy, if you will, a year before we declared independence from England, we had British law enforcement, actually troops, trying to confiscate that which was not their property. They went to Lexington and to Concord. And we had several of them shot and killed by colonists. Should those colonists therefore be executed for breaking the law? Because what David Ware said is, no, this is not your property. No, I have not committed an offense worthy of you even searching this vehicle. That's his position. You know, and that's really kind of where I heard Kevin Adams say here, is because he has the right to privacy, Fourth Amendment, and that they can't search the car. They clearly told him, we're not arresting you, we're taking your car. And Kevin Adams made his case that they didn't have grounds to take his car. Now, the gun thing, okay, first of all, they violate, I don't know if they went and got a search order in order to search the car, you know, but that was after the fact.
I don't think you can get a search warrant in 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. And so, once they witnessed a crime happening, yes, then they have, they could do what they.
What was the crime happening?
Well, he killed,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
But you cannot justify things in backwards order.
Right. I thought you meant the initial stop. Okay.
Right. Okay. And his point to them beating the snot out of him, who is not under arrest. They're trying to take his car, which his attorney says, no, they don't have the grounds to do it. There are people say, if you just do what they tell you, everything will be fine. Well, that's true in Lexington and Concord. If they just do what the British told them, nobody would die. But then where does our liberty go?
Yeah, it's always a tough thing. For example, earlier this week, the police shooting in, where was it? I don't remember what state. I saw it on Newsmax. The police shot a guy in the head.
Yeah, trying to remember what state
I can't remember
that was.
either. But see, again, that was to me, again, a stupid shooting, a needless shooting. Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, it's one of those things to me that it was needless both ways. The officer, I think, was in his perfect right in the beginning. David Ware should have just taken me to jail or take me down or stop me, breathalyze me, whatever they stopped him for. He could have fought him on the fact that for an illegal stop, because apparently, as we saw, he had a green light. They didn't have the right. They proved, we saw the photos that.
Right. There was no red light for him to run.
There was no red light for him to run.
Yeah.
He had the insurance, all the things they said that led to the stop. Now, once he resisted arrest, that gave them grounds. But he could have fought that, saying it was an illegal arrest. So he shouldn't have. It should never have gotten to the point where, in tort law, there's a thing, proximate cause. What was the proximate cause? The initial cause of everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. Was it them stopping him, or was it him resisting the arrest, or whatever? But he should have gotten out of the car. I'm not arguing that he should have gotten out of the car. Just listen to the police and do what they tell you. This is my advice for everybody. When the police tell you, put your hands on the wheel, get out of the car. Like my story in Owasso. You were speeding. Sorry, officer. I'm sorry I was speeding. I didn't know. I was going too fast. I didn't know. I thought it was 45 or 40. It was 35, right? Okay. All right. Step out of the car. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do this walk. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're the cop.
Yeah, and he had probable cause.
Right. Once it got to now, in the end, if they took him in, he said they didn't have probable cause. That's when he should have called a lawyer. I didn't run a red light. Mm-hmm. I had my insurance. Boom. You can fight all that. Then they throw out whatever else they get after that. Okay. So I'm not saying that he wasn't at fault for everything that happened after the stop. Okay. That never should have happened. Same with this guy was it Ohio, Indiana? I can't remember. Wherever it was.
There's been a lot of.
So anyway, the guy, he gets out of the car, which he wasn't supposed to do. That was one thing, right? And then the cop pursues him, and the guy decides to run. Mm-hmm. And then the cop's wrestling with him. He wants to shoot him with the taser. The guy takes the taser from the cop. Mm-hmm. Then the cop shoots him in the head. Okay. Why not shoot him in the butt? The guy had a giant behind. No, I mean, he had big target, right? Just grab your gun, shoot him in the butt, in the leg, something. You probably had grounds, okay? You shoot him in the head, your career's over. Al Sharpton, you might as well have, once you shot him, just pull out the phone. May I speak to Al Sharpton, please? Yeah, Reverend Al.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've got a case for you here. You might as well. I'm just going to give you advance notice. My name is Detective blah, blah, or Sergeant so-and-so. I just shot a guy, and I know you're going to want to come to town, so you might as well. I'm just giving you advance. You know what I mean? I mean, it's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And, of course, here go people marching, da-da-da-da-da-da. So the black victim was wrong. He never should have resisted the cop's arrest. Okay. The guy was a dirtbag. I'm sure he was a dirtbag. He's been arrested so much, beating women, doing this. He was a dirtbag. I'm going to say it. He was a dirtbag. Okay. So don't anybody accuse me of trying to take up for the perp. But the perp should never have been shot in the head. That's my other point. And people, for some reason, can never separate the two issues. This is where I always get in trouble with people. They think I'm always defending these victims of the shootings. I'm not defending the victim of the shooting because they are not good people, or they're not always these innocent angels that got shot. Nevertheless, no matter what they did not deserve to be shot and killed on that day, on that moment. They may have deserved to go to jail. They may have deserved to get a ticket. You know.
Yeah.
Same with these officers that were shot by David Ware. Mm-hmm. They did not deserve, one did not deserve to die that day.
Yeah.
The one did not deserve to be mortally or nearly fatally wounded. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what they did to David Ware.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly the reverse situation, right?
Yeah.
That David Ware, had he just gotten out of the stupid car and let him take him in and then
No, they weren't going to take him in. They told him he's under arrest. We're just taking your car.
Oh, okay. Well, he would have gotten his car back. He'd be out. His life is gone. And the officer's like, well, that's really stupid then. If that's all they were going to do is take his car. So anyway, but we as the public need to rethink this stuff. We need to look at it as we're doing here with Ryan Walters and John Cox, right? We need to say, okay, we listened to John Cox.
Yeah.
Great candidate, great ideas, good man, etc. Then we get Ryan in. Mm-hmm. Great candidate, great ideas, good man. Mm-hmm. Now, we have to weigh these, and between the two, somebody's going to win. Mm-hmm. So, but we don't do that. This is where prejudice comes in. Mm-hmm. Okay? Got a black idiot with a prior history of crime, prior history of being a dirtbag. So we instantly say, well, yeah, he was killed, but he probably should have been killed. Now, you're not saying that. I'm not saying. But there are a whole bunch of people that immediately will say, of
course,
well, he deserved what he got.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
You disobey a cop, you deserve what's coming. This isn't my problem, Eddie. Because when you say, how do you define liberty? Well, our constitutional rights, right? To our property, to, our privacy and that.
You left one very important one out. Life.
Well, I'm getting to that.
That comes before liberty.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So, is our liberty. Sometimes you're met with, am I going to fight for my liberty because it may cost me my life? But what did Patrick Henry say to that? Give me liberty or give me death. And so, you might be right, but you might be dead right. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, in this case, though, it was not a case where making that argument was worth it.
They were taking his property illegally, Eddie.
Oh, you're talking about David Ware?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back on the other.
Right.
Well, even in David Ware's case, it wasn't, I don't think that was worth it.
That's his decision to make, and we can Monday morning quarterback this.
Yeah, but... And I honestly don't think I think he was, I don't know this, but I don't think I think he was high.
Okay, take the badge off, and now let's say you got a Treyvon versus Zimmerman. Zimmerman was right because he was being beaten to a pulp, and before he lost consciousness, he defended himself, and he was acquitted for it.
Zimmerman should have gone to jail or paid some price.
I disagree with you.
No, totally. He should. Because Zimmerman was told to stay in his car. Zimmerman's life, according to your...
Yeah, I heard that
his dispatcher
told him.
His life, his liberty, and his property were not under threat.
Oh, it was his neighborhood. And he was asked by his neighbors...
Wait. Was his neighborhood under threat?
Yes.
How? By a guy walking
They had break-ins, and that's why they organized.
I understand, but was it under threat by that young man walking through his neighborhood?
Well, we don't know that. We're trying to find out.
All right, until, and he's not a police officer. It's not his job to find out.
Oh, I disagree with you completely on that. It's your neighbor, your property. You organize with your neighbors.
We should be starting the show right now. No, Zimmerman should have gone to jail.
No, and I'm going to go directly.
I'm not saying he should have been convicted of murder or manslaughter or anything, but he should have paid a price because the 911 operator told him, stay in your car. We've got someone on the way. All he had to do is continue to observe Treyvon Martin continue to observe him, because what was his role? What was Zimmerman? What do they call him? What was he part of?
Well, it was a neighborhood.
Neighborhood what?
I don't know what they.
Oh yeah,
it was a watch party.
Neighborhood watch,
surveillance, a committee.
No, it's called neighborhood watch.
Okay, fine. That's
what he should have done. Watched.
I think that's what he was doing
when he got out of his car. And ended up shooting the guy?
No. It was Treyvon starting to beat him. He did not have any physical altercation that he initiated.
Yeah, because we don't know that for sure.
Oh.
No. See, I totally disagree. Because regardless, if you got a young, testosterone-filled black kid who's got a chip on his shoulder from everything he's been told, and you've got this guy who apparently thinks he's Dirty Harry because he's been told already by the police to stay in your vehicle, but no, he's going to do more. Okay. And he's going to go accost this guy. No, Zimmerman should have kept his behind in the truck and done what he's supposed to, watch the guy. If Treyvon keeps going and he's gone wherever he's gone, no harm, no foul.
Okay, but
it's over.
Okay, but I've got to differentiate with you.
This is what makes fresh black coffee fresh.
Okay. If a policeman's on the scene and he's trying to take control of the situation and he says, back up, if you don't back up, you're obstructing an officer. Okay? But I've had, dispatchers tell me, do this, do that, and the other. They're not there. They're not protecting me. And there's some things I'm going to do to protect me.
Yeah, okay. But Zimmerman was not protecting himself. He was not under threat. Treyvon Martin was walking through the neighborhood. See, I've been in this situation. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the problem. Young white kids walking through the neighborhood at whatever time of day it was, okay? Would George Zimmerman have stopped him? Would he have accosted him?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. No.
Okay.
All right. So there was no reason for Zimmerman to get out of the truck and go after this kid who's walking through the neighborhood for walking through the neighborhood. Okay. I've been stopped at one day I woke up, I was fasting and I couldn't sleep at night. I was praying, so I'm walking in my neighborhood in Louisville, Texas. This is back in the 70s. And the police stopped me just because I was black walking in my neighborhood.
Yes.
All right. And they asked me what I'm doing. I said, I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
Where do you live? I live right over here. And once he said, okay, they let me go. They said they had the right. They're the police. They're looking out for the neighborhood. Wasn't any big deal.
You know what? And you don't even have an obligation to answer them.
No, I didn't mind. I don't care.
I know. That was your choice.
I've been stopped several times like this. And
right.
Not driving while black, walking while black.
Yes.
But, and each time I've been let go because I know, just tell the people what you're dealing with.
I understand that.
And it's worked out. I'm not going to have that attitude. But George Zimmerman was not law enforcement. He was a neighborhood watch. He should have been watching.
I have neighbors in place all the time because I do the kind of work that I have to go to people's homes. I have neighbors ask me, what are you doing? Yes. And I diffuse the situation quite quickly by telling them that information.
Right.
Not because I legally have to, but because it's smart.
So you think Treyvon attacked George Zimmerman just because he asked him, hey, by the way, where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm telling you, I get those questions asked me all the time.
No, I'm not talking about getting the question. You think Treyvon just attacked George Zimmerman just because that's all he asked him?
Well, I don't know what all happened at that situation.
Don't know exactly.
Nor do you, Eddie.
No, but I guarantee you that Zimmerman did more than just ask him.
You're speculating,
Eddie.
Excuse
me, young man. What do you happen to be doing walking through this neighborhood?
You're speculating, Eddie, just like I am.
Oh, my goodness. Come on.
You're guaranteeing me of what you're speculating.
I can't guarantee you. But I can guarantee you that I've been in situations like that, and that Treyvon is not going to just attack and start fighting this guy over him asking him where he's going.
I I'm not an expert on Trayvon's demeanor.
In fact, we have another example of the same similar situation, the black jogger in Georgia or Alabama or wherever, where the guy's just jogging. These same guys followed him, and he goes up, and they follow him, got out there, have shotguns in their hands, and he goes over to them, and they shoot the guy and kill him.
Yeah, they're getting life. And somehow David Ware is getting worse. And I'm telling you, what they did was far worse than what David Ware was convicted of.
Okay, yeah. But again, they weren't law enforcement. Well, yeah, we're in a whole different.
It doesn't matter.
No, George Zimmerman should have gone to jail 6 months. So I'm not saying he should have gotten first-degree murder or manslaughter, whatever, but he should have spent some jail time. And there's a few other people that should have spent some jail time. What I'm saying is that you can't just, to me, the thing that should have indicted George Zimmerman was the fact when the 911, sir, stay in your vehicle, do not approach this person. And when he told him, but no, he had to listen. He had to play vigilante cop. Yeah. He wanted to play policeman, and he's going to save the neighborhood. And approaching this young kid, I wouldn't even do that. I'm not going to approach some teenage black kid in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, what are you doing? You don't have a right to be here."
Well, okay, there's what you think is prudent and what is legal.
Dave. I may think it, but I can guarantee you I know what happened because I've been Treyvon Martin walking through the neighborhood. Oh yeah. When have you been Treyvon Martin?
Multiple times.
You've been a black teenager.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to be black to be treated that way.
No. You have to be black to be treated the way he was in that neighborhood.
Eddie, don't say that blacks have an exclusive to this kind of abuse.
The kind that Trayvon did.
No.
You're still alive, aren't you?
Yes.
You weren't beat up, were you?
And there's a lot of black people are still alive because they handled it smart. Just like you, Eddie, and you said exactly that.
But I am alive because it was the police, and I respected law enforcement.
Okay.
And they know how to act.
But what I'm saying, Eddie, I make a clear distinction. When there's a cop is on the scene, and he tells you to do something.
He wasn't a cop. I'm not going to let you switch. I'm not going to let you switch subject on me.
I'm saying if a police officer had been on that scene and told George and whoever else, move back or, wherever, they have a right to do that because they are on the scene. Then you're obstructing an officer. They don't have a right to tell you, go sit in that car. They just have a right to say, back away, you're in the way of what I'm trying to do.
I'm confused now. Which story are we talking about now?
We're talking about the Trayvon and Zimmerman. We're saying when the cop is on the scene, you are obstructing an officer if you get in the way of what they need to do.
If a police officer had come, they would have asked, young man, where are you going?
I'm talking about what they have a right to tell George to do.
Yeah, they could have told him, go back in your vehicle.
I'm saying not everything they tell you to do, they have the legal authority to demand it of you.
Okay, yeah, but if George Zimmerman at that point shot Trayvon, he's going to jail and he would be accused of murder.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, you're making your point that because some dispatcher said, no, stay in your car, that somehow became a violation of law that he got out of his car.
No, but it put a heavier burden on him to stay in the car. It was a direct. I don't know whether their dispatchers are actual deputies or if they're actual law enforcement or what they are, or they're just like these 911 dispatchers we have in Tulsa. But he should have stayed in his car. And we don't, as you said, we don't know what happened, but we do know had he stayed in his car, Trayvon Martin would be alive, and we would not have a Black Lives Matter movement, would we?
Yeah, but this is the equivalent of house arrest, according to what you're saying, that it was car arrest. You're saying he was under car arrest and he violated that.
No, all he had to do is do what he's supposed to do, be neighborhood watch.
Yes.
He called the police. The police surely came. Police is coming. Stay in your vehicle.
According to his testimony in court, he was just trying to keep visual contact with him.
Yeah, from 2 feet.
Again,
come on, Dave.
His testimony was
Dave.
Martin came to him.
No, I guarantee you.
I'd say that's what the testimony in court was.
Yeah, but there was video evidence of showing that he went to him.
I don't recall there was any.
Yes, there was. Because they showed the video of him going and in a scuffle. There was video of them scuffle. The only thing they couldn't prove on the video was who got the gun and who shot whom. That's the only thing they couldn't prove, that he actually pulled a gun and shot him.
I remember the defense arguing against the testimony that he confronted Treyvon, because his testimony, and there was nothing he did not, it was not established in court that he confronted Treyvon. Somehow those two came together.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then. All right, his truck is here. For those of you over there, his truck is here. He ends up shooting him over there. If he never got out of his truck and confronted him.
He wasn't under car arrest.
Wait. If he never confronted him over here or went to him over there, how is it that Treyvon got shot over there? Come on, use your head. You're an educated white man. But come on.
The fact that, you could say if he hadn't ever moved to that neighborhood, that would have never happened. There's a lot of things you can say.
Dave.
But Eddie, you cannot, a dispatcher can't put somebody under arrest.
No. We didn't. We established that. We know he didn't.
Staying in your car is a equivalent of a house arrest.
It was a suggestion that she made, and told him to do it. No, she can't make him. Mm-hmm. But once she gave him the advice to stay in the car, and he did, he got out and confronted the guy, and then somebody ends up dead. To me, it should have been third-degree manslaughter.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
In my opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion, it should have been third.
I've been in a similar situation.
I don't think George Zimmerman intended to or should have been convicted of murder or first-degree manslaughter or anything. But I think because of the circumstances, you don't, for example, if I have a gun on me and I confront someone with my gun, apparently, in my mind, I always need to know that at some point I'm going to intend to use this gun. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to be, or I don't have it, right?
Yeah.
And when they say you never, because the gun was out, apparently he intended to use it, correct?
It wasn't. He pulled it out while Treyvon was on top of him. That's the testimony he gave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
his head had been slammed against the concrete a couple of times by then.
Maybe.
That's the testimony that was given.
That's the testimony I was given.
And he had the physical damage to show.
Yeah, but I saw the physical damage. That was, I could have done that. I could have just scraped my head against the ground and shown that. I'm not buying it. Like I said, I did not want George. It's just like Officer Shelby. I did not want her to go into jail. But she should have lost her pension, like the military. You would if she were military. Yeah. She would have been stripped of her rank and lost all that. So I don't think she intended to murder Crutcher, but she should have received some punishment. She should not have been promoted and got hired again over in Claremont, right?
I chalk it up to incompetence.
Right. But in the Zimmerman case, he should have gotten some kind of punishment. That was not. You can't do that. It's you just can't. And it's funny because conversely, you got the situation now in Syracuse, New York, where you got the little boy, little 8 or 10-year-old kid shoplifting, and the police arrest the kid. They take him to his dad, and now people are rioting because they arrest an 8-year-old shoplifter and take him to his dad, and the city is in turmoil. They should have whipped his butt right on the spot. They should have taken the belt, public beating the little black kid. So I'm all over the place. It's not racial. It's the situation. They should have beat that because that kid, I guarantee you, if they let him off the hook, he will offend again. He will offend again. Eddie, it's not, I want people to understand, I am not, it's the circumstances, people, the circumstances that dictate what I think law injustice are and should be.
Yeah.
And in the Zimmerman case, I believe that they did not. I don't think Black Lives Matter and Obama, that was stupid on their part. That was overdone. I believe the St. Louis, where Hands Up Don't Shoot started, I think that officer had every right to shoot that Michael Brown.
Yeah.
I'm totally behind that, support that officer. But there are cases where officers are wrong, individuals are wrong. And so, it's never always this way. It's never always this way. Okay. Each case is different.
Yep.
And I just feel certain ways, and I feel the Treyvon case was this way. Michael Ware was this way. Betty Shelby was this way. The Muskogee case was that way, and so forth and so on.
I do want to say, Eddie, be careful on one thing. Neither of us deny the fact that blacks have been abused of their civil liberties more than the public as a whole. Right. But do not, therefore, deny the reality that other people are abused, including myself. Things like people say, what are you doing here? I've not seen you in this neighborhood. That kind of thing. It happens to everybody.
No, I totally agree. No, I totally agree with that.
Because you sounded like you were dismissive because I wasn't black, therefore I haven't dealt with it.
No, but it is different from the situation of a 16-year-old black kid with sagging pants and a hoodie. Okay, there is a distinction. It's a little. It's a little different.
It complicates things even more and adds to people's prejudice.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. It is different, and it's not just a black thing. I mean, it's not a racial. In other words, black cops. If a black cop sees a 16-year-old black kid with a hoodie and saggy pants, a black cop is going to. Did you see the video? I don't remember what town it was in, but it was all black cops, and there were these black women acting up. And these black cops, and they took the one day and threw her on the ground.
Oh, yes!
And just threw her on her handcuffs.
There's a guy dressed as a woman that they got onto, too.
Oh, was it? I thought it was all women.
Heavy set? That's a guy.
Oh, I thought it was one. Oh, anyway, but one was a woman. But anyway, they arrested both of them.
The woman was the loudmouth. She was the Keisha.
Okay, well, anyway, they took him, and they didn't care, and they just took him out. And the bad thing, they can't do anything about it because they're all black cops, and these cops didn't care. You're going, boom, get in the car. So it's kind of funny. Hey, listen, I think we better wrap up here because
bonus show this week, folks.
Yeah. We had a long one, but anyway, this has been good, people, and I hope you enjoyed it. And let's see if we can get some closing music here. There we go.
Who is this?
This is Salvador.
Oh, yes.
I want to bring us all back down. Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoy it, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Eddie is now decompressing, mellowing out.
About the things I want to say, but my thoughts are like clouds drifting far away. Well, are you near? I doubt sometimes that I'm on your mind, just another face, looking up from the crowd, searching for a way to talk to you now. Sometimes I feel small in the scope of it all, and then I'm reminded again that the very same God that dreamt of the ocean set the stars into place. Well, he knows me by name. The very same God that put the world into motion is listening today. Here's what I say when I pray. Oh, when I pray. I thank you for the faith that keeps me inspired, that tells me every day desire just to hear from me. I can't tell you how much that means. It's so hard to conceive that the very same God that dreamt of the ocean, that set the stars into place,